feast your eyes and digest. Hello and welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Today, where are we? Well, we're actually at the St. George's Harbour, and we're going to go for a little bit of a drive all the way to Paphos. So, kick your shoes off, get yourself a frappe, or perhaps a Nigel Big Guns, that's a gent's sour, and hopefully you're going to enjoy the ride. I'll give you some trivia on the way, but again, have a look at that view. That's the little fishing harbour in the downtown Argos St. George area. That's the ice cream. There's some people walking the dogs, and there's even people on the beach sunbathing. Anyway, here we go. We're off on our travels. It's going to probably take us around about 25 to 30 minutes, by the way, just to let you know. So if you really want to suffer, stay watching. But it should be quite an interesting video because we're going to wiggle and waggle all the way. You're going to get some great views. I'm going to tell you some of the landmarks on the way, and we'll have a bit of a jibber jabber. Now, the people who are new to the channel don't really understand that much about Marika and me. Marika and me is the most beautiful woman in the world. She is the love of my life, and she is my wife to be. And we will be together until the day I die. Now, I understand that many people would like me to die right now, but if you are still watching, we do bring a little bit of interest into some people's lives. Some people like to follow the interaction between Marika and me. Some people like to see the beauty of Paphos. Some people just like to see a beautiful blue sky, and they like to see a bit of rays of sunshine being beamed onto their screens in the morning while they eat their breakfast. For example, Sean and Dawn. They like to sit there and have their breakfast, and they like to watch Marika and me. Now, they've probably clicked off and unsubscribed by now, but we wish you a very enjoyable breakfast. Whether it's tea or coffee, I don't know, but cheers to you. And if you're curious to know what time it is, it's just before 12 o'clock, and it is the first week of January, and it is, well, you're not going to believe me. I know you're not going to believe me, but it is 22.5 degrees. Have a look. There you go. 22.5 degrees. It's actually getting warmer. So if you're looking for that perfect place for that winter sun, whether it be before Christmas or just after the new year, Cyprus has to be at the very top of your list. Now, to give you an update on what's going on in Marika and me's lives, some of you know and some of you don't. Some of the avid followers obviously know, and some of the new ones do not. But unfortunately, we were given a bit of a kick in the teeth on New Year's Eve, early hours of New Year's Eve. We woke up to the news that unfortunately Marika's father had passed away. He had died. His name's Edward, and a bit of a shock, a bit of a dampener obviously, and we then had to deal with that problem. To make the problem that little bit worse, unfortunately Edward had gone into Lower Russia from Georgia, which is where he lived, Tbilisi, capital city of Georgia, and to speak to a doctor about some treatment for some of his health problems. But unfortunately, while he was there, he had a heart attack, and unfortunately he passed away. Nothing to do with the doctor, by the way. That's just the way life goes. Now, to make matters more complicated, some people will understand this and some people will not. Obviously then he had to be repatriated to his home country, which is Georgia, which is not a simple task any day of the year, but of course it's even more complicated when it's New Year's Eve and the next day is New Year's Day, because most of the world, well, it sort of stops for a bit, shall we say. Anyway, after an awful lot of phone calls, emailing and face-to-face talking on Viber, that's the rival to WhatsApp if you understand, but in this part of the world that's what we use, a plan was hatched, some money changed hands, well, quite a lot of money changed hands, and Edward started the process of being, what the words are, embalmed and all that kind of thing, and then being brought from Russia to the border. Border control does their bits and bobs. He was there a while. They have to check for all sorts of things. You know, it could be a drug smuggling operation, a money smuggling operation, whatever things. So we understand what goes on there. Again, more money has to cross hands, and various bribes take place in these countries, if you understand them. And eventually, body was released, and eventually his body started its descent down to Georgia, through Georgia, and then eventually arrived in Tbilisi. Now it is laying in, I think the word, what I'll call it, is in state, where family members are able to go and pay their respects, have their last words, that sort of thing. And then hopefully in the next couple of days, his actual burial will take place in the family plot in downtown Tbilisi. He will be laid to rest, and we wish him a very, very safe trip, and we look forward to seeing him in the near future, in the next life, as we say. Now, that's the bad part done, that's the update done. Marika is holding up very, very well. By the way, she is a soldier, there is no doubt about that. Whether you understand in some of the videos that we make, sometimes she could be not feeling that well, but lights, camera, action, as they say. But what you're seeing is true life. We're not fake, and people who meet us understand that. What they see is what you get. When we walk through the Kato Paphos Harbour in particular, when people say hello to us, they mean it. They're all our friends, and it goes back a long, long way to when the channel first started. We made sure that they were our friends and that they were the stars of the show, and that's how it is today. Each and every one of my friends in the harbour and along the promenade that we stop to chat with, that we stop to greet, and we stopped to shake their hands, they are the stars of the show. If that's the correct words, I think you understand what I'm trying to say. We are just, well, a way for you to see them and a way for you to understand that there's a lot of fun and games going on in the downtown Kato Paphos Harbour and promenade area. Anyway, back to the video. We're driving from the Argus St George Harbour. We've just come through St George. There's not a lot going on, that's why I decided to wobble on a bit. And then this is the main sort of carriageway now that takes us to the focal point, which is the crossroads between uptown Paya and downtown Coral Bay. Right, so if you've been around this area, you live around this area, as people do that watch us, you understand exactly where I am. And I warn anybody, whether you live here or whether you come here on holiday or whatever you come here for, please be very careful whether you hire a car, steal a car or borrow a car on this stretch of road. The Gumbarus in blue always look a little bit glum, but they look very, very happy, and they have a big grin on their face when they catch you speeding and they get to pull you over at this spot here on the left or on the right, and they issue with an on the spot €75 fine. Oh my god, do they have a good chuckle. And then they have a frappe on you and a cigarette and a laugh. Anyway, same all over the world, I know that. The weather today spectacular. Hopefully Sean and Dawn have finished their breakfast by now, and hopefully you're getting ready to, well, I don't know, go to work, or perhaps not at this time of year, perhaps you're still on holiday. And hopefully the weather's not treating you too badly. I don't believe it's that cold in the UK at the moment. I think it's around 2 or 3 degrees, so that's not so bad, and warms up as the day progresses. But of course, it's not 22 degrees, is it? No. And the sun is not glistening in the sky. No. And the roads are not getting baked. No. And you're not walking around in a t-shirt, even if you live here. No. Anyway, that's just making fun. So we're rapidly now approaching the roundabout, which will allow you to take a left up to Mid-Paya and Upper Paya, and a right along the Coral Bay strip. Before we get to that, there is a little Predator shops here with a pool cleaning accessory shop if you want salts and that sort of stuff, and then there's a farm shop, and then there is the Coral Bay go-karting centre there, closed at this time of year, but quite a nice little go-karting course. So if you are staying in Coral Bay, it could be something worth going to have a little monkey around on with your family, that's for sure. We've got a bit of a takeaway kebab restaurant there, and then you've got the Banana Tree coffee shop, nice little coffee, and a place that will sell you some lingerie, and a property seller. And then this place here is the Paphos supermarket, so that's the big supermarket in the Paya area, and again very expat foreigner focused. Anything you want, from Hellman's mayonnaise to Heinz baked beans, you're going to get in there. So don't worry, you may be a couple of thousand miles away from Blighty, but if you're in a self-catering apartment in Coral Bay, anything you want you can get even down to your Danish bacon. So this is the roundabout we're coming to now. If you were to go right, you would hit literally the Coral Bay Strip, a bunch of bars, restaurants and gift shops and that sort of thing. And eventually, if you kept going, you'd come to the Coral Bay Beach. If you were to go left here, you would wiggle and waggle up through Mid-Paya and up into Upper Paya. Just down here, you've got an ice cream shop, and it's called Scoop and Smile. Again, at this time of year, it's closed. And then this is our descent now along the coastal road. The first place we're going to come to is Lower Kissonaga. Then we're going to go into Lower Clorica. Then we'll hit Two of the Kings, and then of course we will crescendo as we hit downtown Paphos. And if you're very, very lucky, we'll take a right at the Paphos Mall roundabout, and we'll go down to the harbour, and you will get to see that blue Mediterranean Sea on a truly spectacular January day, and it will take your breath away. So sit back and relax. As you see, there's an awful lot of traffic on the road. Obviously we are in that holiday time, so a lot of people are not working, shall we say, and a lot of people are here on holiday. While I was walking around in Coral Bay yesterday, I did notice there was a lot of white people, if you understand me. Their skin was not browned. They didn't have any suntan yet, so they've just arrived. And I was actually chatting to three English young couples in their mid-20s, I would say, and they were walking down to Coral Bay when I bumped into them, and they sort of understood that there was something odd. I was dressed a little bit odd, should we say, with a pair of jeans, and I had this silly thing in my hand, but I wasn't filming. And they asked me the way to the Coral Bay Beach, and I said it's that away. And they said, is it warm enough to swim? I said, well, probably not for me, but probably for you. And we had a bit of a chat and a laugh and a joke, and they were from Essex. Now, I'm not going to try and say all their names because, to be honest, there were 6 of them, and they said it very, very quickly, and I can't remember it, and I apologise for that. But I'll always remember their faces, and I'll always remember their smiles and the little jokes that we had. And they're here for 11 nights, I think it was, and they're having a fantastic time. They came just after Christmas. I think it was the 27th they arrived, and they've got about another week to go. Anyway, here we are. This here on the right hand side is the CU Beach Bar. A very, very popular bar indeed. But of course this time of year it's closed. It's got a beach front and a spectacular beach down there. A bit of sand and a bit of rocks and a very, very big car park. And if you go hunting back through our videos, you'll hear me mention it, and you'll hear me say, I wonder how full the car park is. And normally, when it's open, the car park is half full or more. Now, if you were to go left there, you would go up into Uptown Kissonaga. But we're on the coastal road, and forgive the road service, it is rapidly deteriorating, and becoming that little bit Sherlock Holmes. If you're new to the channel, what does Sherlock Holmes means? It means it's not very good, or in plain simple English, S-H-I-T. But we're a family channel. There's a Rambo Whippy. He's off to Coral Bay probably to see if he can find some tourists who would like to buy one of his rather fluffy ice creams. You've got the Crazy Spoon restaurant there on the left hand side. Now you've got a Prater shops, you've got the Arabica coffee shop, and you've got the Rafe coffee shop just over there on the right. That's one of my favourite coffee shops. Normally on my way to Coral Bay, I stop there and get a coffee. At this crossroads here, again, if you went left, you would go into Midtown Kissonaga. If you go right, you would literally go into downtown Kissonaga, because you'd hit the beach, and the Cynthiana Hotel is just down there as well, and a couple of beachside restaurants. Prater shops here, you've got Paphos Computer, Florida Pools, Greenwood Bakeries, Maybrook Services, will writing, that kind of stuff, IKEA Gora Supermarket. You've got all sorts of bits going on, too much for me to even mention, restaurants and all that kind of stuff. And then you've got what used to be, I think, the Lara Bay Hotel, but now it's changed its name, and it's the Atlantica Beach Hotel. Anyway, I digest. Let's keep going. Downtown Kissonaga. This is the coastal road, And as you can see, the sky is blue, sea is blue. I'm dressed head to toe in blue, I promise you. Well, no, my socks are black today. There we go. Telling fibs. And my boxer shorts are black as well. I always wear black boxer shorts, so I'm not actually dressed head to toe in blue. But those are the only lies that I'll ever tell to you. Becoming a poet slowly. Now, if you want an English breakfast when it's open, there's a little place there called Lola's. And if you want to go and see Simon the fly screen man, he'll fit some fly screens, but obviously you need to own an apartment or buy one, that's for sure. In the summertime, that little green construction there is a fruit cellar. You can buy some nice grapes and oranges and all sorts of other bits and bobs. Got a kiosk, David's kiosk and takeaway coming up here. And also dibbles and dabbles in the odd used car. And then it gets a bit more built up here. So this is the area around the St. George Hotel, I'm going to say, but it's Clorica. Okay, now we're in Clorica. So you've got the Helios Bay Hotel just over there. Superstars of ours have stayed there. You've got various restaurants and bars again to our right hand side. And you've got the Azure Hotel coming up. And there's an awful lot going on, if you understand me. And then just down to this right hand side, palm trees here, in that car park, you've got the Barracas Lounge. And there's a coastal pathway down there. Again, if you go hunting through our videos, put in Barracas Lounge, Casonaga and Clorica, you're going to find some of our videos. Boom, up they come and you can watch them. This is the Lara Beach and there's Splash Park on the right hand side. And then at this traffic lights, if you were to go left, you would go uphill to Uptown Clorica, and if you were to go right, you would literally go into the main foyer of the St. George Hotel, which is that one over there. There it is. And of course that's a luxury beach hotel. You walk out its back door and you're straight onto the blue Mediterranean Sea. But we're going to keep going straight. Parades of shops around here, supermarket, property sellers, hair salons and a pharmacist and a few other bits and bobs. So if you're staying in the hotels around here, pretty much everything you can want is here. And of course the beach, the sea and the sun. You've got Coffee Me, coffee shop there. You've got a 24-hour kiosk mini supermarket there on the right hand side, and electrical goods supplied by Premier Electrical, which are closed for the foreseeable future until I think it's the 7th of January. That's when the festivities finally end in Cyprus. And this area, the other day, we had a wiggle and a waggle around, and we drove around some of these rather nice villas, and as we were told in the comments, most of the villas are nudging on the price of around €1 million. So yeah, the price of property is, well, I understand if you're coming from London or New York, perhaps it's chump change, but to us mere mortals, the price of property is, well, ridiculous, shall we use that word. If you take a right here past the former parish church, which is that building there, you would go down to again the beachfront, and again some rather nice luxury villas. If you were to go left here, you would go to the Duck Pond Market. Now it's open on a Wednesday and a Sunday. Really gets into swing on a Sunday. Wednesday is more of a bric-a-braca idea, and half of it is not actually open, except in the peak of summer, if you understand me. The more people, the more stalls. It's very, very simple. Same all over the world. Next hotel coming up on the right hand side, that's the King Elephant Hotel, or the King Eliathan Hotel. There it is. That's its main entrance. Spectacular hotel, that's for sure. And now we have arrived at the downtown Kato Paphos area, shall we say. We're just about to hit Paphos town. And again, the road surface, well, it's as if we're in Mars driving on those craters. Oh so sweet Caroline, get yourself a pillow to sit on, because I'm pretty sure that these potholes come whizzing over to you and scare the living daylights out of you. There we are. So technically now we're in Paphos, and this area is called Tomb of the Kings, and that's the Aspire School on the right hand side, and then there's a petrol station on the left hand side, as you can see. Various parades of shops and slimming world there. If you want to go swimming, phone Deborah on 9764 whatever it was, and she'll help you to lose those pounds that you put on over Christmas. You've got the Capital Coast Resort down there to the right hand side, and this now is like a dual carriageway that takes us through the Tomb of the Kings area. So if you are walking around this area, if you are going to cross over from one side of the road to the other side, please be very, very careful indeed. And even if you use the zebra crossings, do not assume that because the little green light tells you to go, that you can go. Please be extra careful. You have to understand that the sun does something to the brains of most of the people driving around in cars in Cyprus. It cooks them. And then if you understand that if you've got a frappe in one hand, a cigarette in the other hand, and you're trying to put your flip-flops back on, and you've got a mobile phone on each shoulder, and you've got a selfie stick in your hand trying to make a YouTube video, sometimes you haven't noticed that the lights have gone to red. That's the rant over, by the way. Here we are. I'm only making fun of the locals, and in fact it's not just the locals that don't adhere to the traffic rules. Miss Oching Receiver Booth, well, she likes to speed a little bit, and she doesn't really like to stop at red traffic lights that often. When we used to live in Polis, which is on the other side, we used to have a little bit of a saying, because there's a traffic lights in the middle of Polis, and I'm not being funny, at these crossroads, you're lucky if you're, well, normally it's just you. If you understand, from all four crossroads, you'll be the only car there. So my little joke was, well, we won't stop, there's no need. And in fact, my neighbour at the time was a police officer, and even she said to me, Mr. Paul, you don't need to stop in Polis, it's not required, unless you see a car coming the other way. There we are. Quite lax over in Cyprus. That's some of the great things about Cyprus, and of course at the same time it can be some of the bad things. So that is the rant over. It's very, very difficult, if you understand, to get caught by a policeman doing anything wrong. And if you remember from a couple of days ago, I was mentioning, I had a word with my lawyer Saba, and he's a very good lawyer indeed. He likes to hang out with Chris the Sponge Man, so you have seen him on camera. And I had a word with him about holding a selfie stick while the selfie stick is attached to a mobile phone with a furry thing on top of it, driving around in a car filming. I said, what's your opinion of that? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, do you think it's illegal? And he said, no, it's not illegal, you're allowed. I said, no, the mobile phone and the hand bit. And he said, oh, well, show me. So I showed him, and he said, well, your hand technically is on your knee, yes, and technically it's on a stick, yes, and technically it's nowhere near a mobile phone, yes, and you're not talking on a mobile phone, no. So technically, by the letter of the law, you cannot get done. But don't argue with the policeman, accept the fine and then give it to me, and then I will argue the legalities of it, and I promise you that I'll get you off the €300 fine, but the fees will be about 1,500. See? He's a true friend. I think he was joking. Anyway, here we are, downtown Tomb of the Kings area. I'm not even going to try and name all the businesses, because obviously there are just too many. She's still in my English even when she's in Tbilisi. There we are. Hertz is just over there. You've got, if you're getting married, you've got the photo studio there. You've got one of our Gumbarus in here at the Three Pigs Taverna. He's closed for a bit of a lick of a paint. Going to reopen very soon. We're going to go make a special video about that, because the food in there is to die for, and you really are going to enjoy it, that's for sure. Now we are going to take a right, like I said, and go down to the Kato Paphos Harbour area, and hopefully it'll be busy. I think it will be, and I'm pretty sure that there's no hope, but definitely you're going to get a great view, so stick with us. Kato Paphos Promenade is a coming up. On the left hand side, that's the Paphos Mall. This is the Paphos Mall Tomb of the Kings roundabout. We are going to take a right and go down to the harbour area. If we took a left, we would wiggle and waggle up towards Midtown and eventually into the Old Town. If we were to go straight over, we would go out towards the Universal area and past the big church, which Mr. Ian, I am so sorry, I've forgotten his name again. Was it called Mr. Anthony's Church? If it is, hopefully, because that's my middle name, so therefore I'll never forget it again. Hope you're okay over there in Yorkshire, Mr. Ian. Hopefully Miss Janet is doing well, and hopefully she's not doing strange things in the Lake District, shall we say. There we are. Hope you had a great Christmas, and hopefully you're having a great New Year, and we wish you many happy flying hours again. Just gone under the Paphos Skywalk, and as we raise up here on our left hand side in these cliffs here are the catacombs, and then just coming up over here is the, I don't know, I call them the Ali Akbar catacombs, and you can go down by this tree here which has got all these little things hanging on it and make a wish and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, to go back in the video, I said Sherlock Holmes stands for S-H-I-T. Well, I was trying to pronounce the name of that place, and Miss watching receiver in the booth was about to swear, and she came up with the immortal words Sherlock Holmes to replace the words that you are talking a load of S-H-I-T. There you go. So there's always fun and games on the channel known as Marika and me. Please stick with us, and please continue to come back and watch our absolute insanity, and hopefully slowly but surely you'll fall in love with us as we have fallen in love with each and every one of you. It's that time. I'm going to say thanks for watching. If you like what you see, hit the like, click subscribe, and we'll give Miss Maria a toot. There she is, waiting to relieve you of some money on one of her electric scooters. But I say, come back for a little bit more of our insanity, and if you really want to watch the channel grow, go to new heights, new places. Don't click off, Mr. Nigel. Stay and listen, because you're going to get a great view at the end. You could consider going through to our About page, where you might wish to contribute to the channel by buying yourself, myself and Marika a coffee, and take the channel to new heights, watch it grow, and allow us to become full-time YouTubers and watch our insanity, well, go to new heights, shall we say. Pretty busy in the downtown Kato Harbour. There's a lot of people wiggling and waggling around. Car park's pretty busy. All that's missing is you, so get yourself on a big bird or a canoe and start paddling like crazy. I'm going to say thanks again for watching, and thanks for joining me, and more updates tomorrow, and of course we'll be wiggling and waggling around somewhere, or I'll be walking on some rocks. Thanks for watching.